thedailymass.com. Experience the Roman Catholic Mass from historic St. Louis Cathedral every day on thedailymass.com. His love, anywhere in the world.
Good evening, I'm Sarah McDonald.
And I'm Jason Angelette. Welcome to Issues and Faith.
Well, at the Chrism Mass this year, we convoked the 9th General Synod of the Archdiocese of New Orleans. Here's Archbishop Amen with more.
Greetings. On Tuesday, April the 15th, it was my privilege to announce and to officially open the Synod for the Archdiocese of New Orleans, the 9th Synod in the history of our Archdiocese. One may ask, well, what is a synod? The word synod means a gathering of the church. The purpose of our synod is for clergy, religious, and lay faithful to gather and to prayerfully ask some very, very important questions. As we look to the future, what is God's vision and God's priorities for us as we look towards the next 3 to 5 years? That's an important question. And we're not looking for our vision and for our priorities, but prayerfully we come together at various meetings and gatherings to ask the question, God, where are you leading us? What is your vision? What are your priorities for us over the next couple of years? This process will begin by having consultation sessions throughout the Archdiocese of New Orleans. In fact, there will be 16 sessions that will be open. 10 of them will be open to the general public. There will be one in each deanery. We'll have one for priests, one for deacons, one for those in consecrated life, one for youth, one for young adults, and one for the Hispanic ministry. At those gatherings, we will ask 3 questions. What is it that you believe the Catholic Church and Archdiocese of New Orleans is doing well? Secondly, what could we do better? And thirdly, what is it that you believe the Catholic Church and the Archdiocese of New Orleans should be doing in order to foster God's kingdom and that we are not giving attention to that particular area? First of all, I invite you to take part in the Synod. There will be gatherings throughout the entire Archdiocese. That is published on this website. It's also in the Clarion Herald. Please feel free to come to those meetings. I will be at each and every one of those meetings. My purpose to be there is to listen. I will open the gathering with a prayer and then really listen for the next hour to what you have to say. And what you have to say is important to us because we believe that it is by this dialogue and consultation that we will come to clarity as to what God's vision and priorities are for us as an archdiocese. This synod process will last approximately a year to a year and a half. And at the end, through a lot of discussion and then the work of a oversight committee, we will then propose 3 to 5 major priorities with objectives, goals and objectives for each one that will be measurable, that we can really accomplish over the next several years. We entrust this important process to your prayers and to your consultation and advice. And we also entrust it to St. Louis, King of France, the patron of the Archdiocese of New Orleans. St. Louis, King of France was a very interesting person. He was married, had many kids, children. He was also a man who was very, very close to the Lord. And in his role as husband and father, he lived his faith. And we have actually some writings that he did to his children about living their faith. And as he became the King of France, he took the teachings of the gospel and of the church and tried to implement those into the government in France when he was king. It's very clear to me that St. Louis, King of France, discerned and prayed about God's vision and priorities in his life and in the life of his country. We're now asking St. Louis, King of France, to pray with us and to pray for us, that we can be open to the Holy Spirit of God to know what it is that the Lord is asking of us. This is an important historical moment in the Archdiocese of New Orleans, one that I am very, very excited about, and I hope that you will participate in this. May God's blessings be with you. May God's blessings and the prayers of St. Louis, King of France, be with us as an archdiocese as we venture into this important, prayerful experience.
And that was Archbishop Gregory Amen speaking about the 9th General Synod. And the theme for the Synod is answering God's call, following God's lead. As Archbishop Amen talked, it's about discerning God's vision and priorities for our local church and getting so many people in the local church involved in the process.
Yeah, I think about, just such a blessing Archbishop Amen is to our archdiocese, and really sit back and look at what this means. Like, I mean, think about like what earlier last year, the year before, when we did the assessments at the schools, right? And so, right, so that was a big thing with the dialogue. We wanted to hear from the schools, from the parents, from everyone, to see what's going on and to address those needs. And here, Archbishop Amen is again going to the parishes and wanting to hear from the parishioners, from the people, what's going on. There's always areas that we can improve on, and we can also talk about the things that are doing really well. I mean, for me personally, I love the Sunday rest that Archbishop Amen is challenging families to, for schools to not be so busy, so that families can be families and focus on their faith that day.
Yeah, it really is exciting, and the response we've gotten from the community so far since we opened it in mid-April has really been extraordinary. And I want to encourage everyone to pick up a Clarion this week. And if you didn't pick up the last couple, pick up those too. There's a lot of information about the Synod in the Clarion Herald. But Archbishop Amen's column this week is about a lady who's actually sent him a letter. This elderly woman, she's in hospice care. She saw that we were opening the Synod. She knows she's not going to be able to attend any of the consultation sessions, but she was so moved that the Archbishop would do this, and that she heard God speaking to her and wanted to share her thoughts and her experience with the Archbishop before she passed on, because she felt like it was such an important thing to do.
Regardless of, I think it's beautiful, whether we're busy or whatever's going on, I think that if we can attend, I think it would be great if everybody attended. I mean, I think just the fellowship, the community coming together with the Archbishop and hearing everything as a parish, as a deanery, as a community, I think that's powerful and beautiful. But I also think too that if you can't make it, then don't not come. You can write, you can email, do whatever you can to make sure that your voice is heard, because we are the church.
That's right, and that is the most important part too. As Archbishop Amen said in the video, he's going to open with a prayer and a few comments, and then he's going to actually sit back and listen to hear from his people. And that first consultation session is actually May 28th, so we're a couple weeks out. It's at St. Margaret Mary in Slidell, and then we'll run through the month of June, take a break in July for vacation, and then come back in August with a bang, really. We'll come back in August the 4th with a youth rally consultation session, really, at Camp Abbey, so it'll be really exciting.
So for details, information on those specific places?
You can go to the Synod website, which is synod, S-Y-N-O-D, .arch-no.org, and the consultation dates are all there. We're going to be updating that page to also include the 3 primary questions that people are going to be asked as they sit and reflect on what they want to say and what they want to share in addition to their own experience. And there's also a place where, as you mentioned, if you can't make it to a consultation session or it wouldn't be convenient for you to, the email is synod@arch-no.org, or there's an actual contact us form that you can fill out directly online, and that can be done if people wanted to be anonymous in their feedback. That's perfectly welcome on that form. You can do that anonymously and submit it directly to the Synod Steering Committee. So, and plus there's a blog, a Synod blog there on the website as well that's being updated pretty regularly with information. I have been so inspired by learning about St. Louis, King of France. You don't realize it, but all of the cathedral windows, stained glass windows, are of his life and his service and his ministry. And it's been a really interesting journey to learn more about him as we got ready for the Synod.
Fantastic. It's a beautiful opportunity. It's a beautiful time right now. And I definitely encourage everyone to keep all this in prayer. I mean, the Holy Father mentioned about the upcoming Synod of Bishops that's happening later on in the year, to keep that in prayer. And I think this would be a great thing too, that while this is all happening from start to finish, that this is just covered in prayer, helping to make sure that we're growing and we're discerning God's will in all of this.
And I think you're right to bring up the October Synod, the extraordinary Synod that the Pope Francis has called, because I'm sure many of the concerns the Pope has shared already with the cardinals as they prepare for the synod and collecting the information from the survey that he did, the one-of-a-kind survey that he asked dioceses to complete and fill out and get back to him. I'm sure a lot of those concerns will come up in our own local synod. And it is very important to understand that in no way, shape, or form is the Archbishop, or I would presume Pope Francis, changing church teaching doctrine.
Of course.
But how we approach people, that has been the theme of Pope Francis's pontificate. How we approach people, how we instruct, how we care for people, especially those who are different or don't believe the same things we do, has been a major theme of Pope Francis's pontificate, and that's what we're going to be looking at.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, a lot of times people think, well, when you show compassion, you have to compromise doctrine. And Christ himself, when he approached the woman who was caught in adultery, right, he didn't cast a stone. He loved her, but he also challenged her to go and sin no more. And that encounter with Christ, an encounter with love, it changed her heart. And so, yeah, we would definitely encourage everyone to keep all this in prayer and to see the beauty of this opportunity where the church is really responding to for the people and trying to bring that Christ-like love into the church.
And a quick anecdote before we go to break. We have had a lot of anecdotal data that showed that the number of people who received the sacrament of reconciliation during Holy Week was much higher than the Holy Weeks past.
Oh, praise God, that's great.
I know personally, I sat in the confession line for 45 minutes on Good Friday, which I didn't mind. You had a lot of people getting impatient, but it was good to see so many people there, and that's what was awesome. So I want to thank everyone who took part in that. To thank the clergy who give so generously of their time during Holy Week. That is an incredible amount of just being there for their people between Palm Sunday Mass, which is a long one, and everything that goes into the Holy Week and the preparation for that. Plus, to sit in my parish, we had our pastor or one of the other priests sit in the confessional for 2 hours every night. And so that's a beautiful commitment, a beautiful testament to their vocation. So please be sure to thank your pastors and your clergy in your parish for all that they have done, and continue to take advantage of the opportunity, sacrament. That's right, and the grace you can receive in the sacrament of reconciliation.
Amen.
And we'll be right back.
The grief and loss resulting from an abortion can be overwhelming. Many women and men need a safe place to heal. The Woman's New Life Center is that place. We treat each woman and man with the utmost respect and dignity. We offer individual counseling and referrals to post-abortion retreats that offer a psychological and spiritual approach to healing. Call 504-831-3117 or visit womansnewlife.com.
Well, with summer just around the corner, Second Harvest is gearing up for a vital program that makes healthy, nutritious food available to some of the most vulnerable in our community. Joining me tonight is Jay Weiss of Second Harvest Food Bank to talk about this and many more ways the community can get involved to feed the hungry. Thanks so much for being with us, Mr. Weiss.
Jason, thank you for having us.
God bless you. So tell us about Second Harvest Food Bank. Remind us for our viewers.
Second Harvest Food Bank, and when you think of a food bank, you think of a traditional church pantry or a faith-based organization. We're that, but much more than that. And I found this out myself recently. I've been with them for less than a year, and I knew of Second Harvest in the community and the good work they did. But when I joined, I found out just how big they are. There is a 200,000 square foot warehouse in the Elmwood area. There is a 50,000 square foot warehouse in the Lafayette area. Second Harvest helps support directly 300 partner agencies across 23 parishes. That includes local food pantries, faith-based organizations, soup kitchens, as well as feeding programs for children and the elderly across, as I said, from the Louisiana-Mississippi state line to the Sabine River, the Texas state line.
So when you donate and you give to Second Harvest, I mean, you're really giving to an organization who knows where to go and is in all the areas from where you just said. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
That's correct, Jason. It's a great organization. I'm proud to be a part of it. And They also they have so many efficiencies, and they've been around for 30 years in the New Orleans area, so they really know how to stretch a dollar.
Yeah, that's which is always key, because when you give, you want to make sure that as much of what you give actually goes to the people in need, and that's what y'all are able to do.
Indeed.
And praise God. So gearing up for the big feeding program, what is this, and how many people benefit from it?
The summer feeding program that we do for children that are out of school, obviously, during the summer months. Unfortunately, a lot of children in our area and across South Louisiana, one of the only meals of the day, sometimes the only hot meal that they'll get during the week is at school through one of the programs that they get there, and a lot of those that we support. So when they're not in school,
they don't have the lunch.
What do? Yeah. So we partner with more than 50 local agencies. Sometimes it's a out-of-school program. It's a faith-based organization where we will, in our industrial kitchen, our community kitchen, we will cook the meals, breakfast, lunch, and also or a snack.
Wow.
Package the hot meals, take them to the sites a couple of times a day, where the children congregating can get a meal.
That's fantastic. So you know during the summer, there's usually a surge in crime and juveniles. How can you say that this program would help benefit those people to kind of maybe get out of that
Just
situation?
In so many ways, and especially you're thinking short term, that you're having them there, you're bringing them into community centers, because the community centers that are offering the meals to them and the snacks as well are usually offering other programs and ways to keep kids out of trouble. Long term, you think about developmental, what's going on in a child's body, biology. They need the proper nutrition, and not just during the school year. Getting fed and getting nutritious meals, and that's part of what we do. It's we do give them healthy snacks, and also the meals where we involve our nutritionists to make sure it's not just a meal, but it's a nutritious meal that they can get, and that's just so important in development of children.
I mean, this is so important. I mean, there's so many kids that, like you're saying, are in school, and then during the summertime that would be able to really benefit from this. How can people get involved?
What we'd like folks to do is a couple of ways. If you have a member site, if you're an agency or you run some type of summer camp or something like that, where you think you could be a feeding site where we could deliver to you, contact us. It's a minimal cost, and we bear much of the cost ourselves and our donors as well.
Sure.
Go to our website, no-hunger.org.
Okay.
We've got information about kind of a preliminary video, the information about how to sign up, the requirements, and contact information there as well. If folks would like to donate to Second Harvest to specifically support this important mission, one of our many missions, you can do so at our website as well. And there's phone numbers on there, all of our contact information. If you have any questions about these, you can call us anytime.
So obviously donations are key in helping to make all these programs successful. What about volunteers, as far as people donating their time, their talents to help out?
For this program and others, it is so vitally important. We have the equivalent of 17,000 volunteer hours opportunity year-round. And we rely on an army of volunteers to make this happen, just through the year, but especially for our summer feeding program. They start 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. There's volunteers there through the day, through the evening, for several weeks during the summer. Volunteers are absolutely essential to everything we do, and it's everything from delivering the meals, preparing the meals, helping in the warehouse. And I'd like to mention too that not only just volunteers from all walks of life help us out, but student groups and students getting their service hours are vital as well. It's a way we can give back to them.
Well, what about as far as age ranges, and what about families participating in the service too as well?
It's wonderful. It's one of the things I've been proud and honored to be a part of, is part of the communications we do. We take photos of folks who volunteer and post it on social media.
Sure.
And it's great. You meet all people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Retired couples who have been doing this for years and years, entire families who get together, entire school groups and faith-based organizations. It's really wonderful. So if you're looking for something that you can do as a family, you can come in and help out in our repack room, in our community kitchen this summer, or any time during the year.
Everybody knows the expression, it's better to give than to receive. How do you, when you see people come in and volunteer and able to help people in need, what do you experience from them? So what do you see in them?
It's really hard to describe the emotions you see when people are doing that, and they realize, and you're surrounded by people through the course of a week, not only our staff, but you're surrounded by hundreds of people who are in the office and the warehouse, giving more, unselfishly giving of themselves, giving back to the community and to their faith. And it gives you a special feeling that's honestly kind of hard to describe.
You know, God's called us to love, and that's one powerful, beautiful way to love, and it really brings us alive. So Second Harvest has several events coming up. Tell us first about the crawfish boil.
The crawfish boil is coming up at Champion Square. It's going to be Saturday, the 10th. And it's part of Zataran's anniversary celebration, their 125th anniversary celebration. And what they're doing, they're putting on the world's largest crawfish boil to directly benefit, and we're the beneficiary of the funds that they raise.
Fantastic.
And it's a good deal for everyone. They're looking to do tens of thousands of pounds of crawfish done by the Zataran's experts. It's free admission to Champion Square. And it's a pretty good deal because they have a lot of crawfish they need to move. So it's $3 for a plate with about 3 pounds of cooked crawfish.
Oh, that's a great deal.
It's a great deal.
Pound for pound.
They'll also be selling other beverages and food there as well, and we're going to be the direct recipient of the proceeds of the sales. So it's a great partnership, and our corporate partners like Zataran's make it possible for us to do, because that's a major part of our fundraising every year.
That's great. That's absolutely great. So also too, this Saturday, which is the same time as the crawfish boil, there's also mail carrier Saturday. Can you talk about that?
This is a national drive that goes on every year with the Postal Carriers Union, with the U.S. Postal Service, and it's a big deal across the metro New Orleans area. In Orleans and Jefferson parishes, letter carriers will be picking up donations from folks, and they put a big push on during the week to publicize it. As a matter of fact, in your Times-Picayune, one of our corporate partners also helped us to print up this custom bag. This will be in your Times-Picayune this week if you haven't got it already this week. And just fill it up with, there's a suggested list of items to donate. I was about
to ask, what would be some good things to put in the bag?
Some of the staples, stew, soup, tuna, peanut butter, that sort of thing. Just put it in the bag, leave it out the night before, Saturday morning.
Doorstep or mailbox?
If it'll fit in your mailbox, I would leave it by it. It's kind of best judgment.
Yeah, sure.
Because this may not fit in a mailbox.
Sure.
But leave it out the night before, the morning of. If you don't happen to have one of these bags, you can still use a regular grocery bag or something like that.
Good.
They're going to pick all those up, and
they'll know what it's for, and they'll take it to the right place.
It's our single biggest one-day food drive donation of the year. We collected last year nearly 250,000 pounds of food, of donated food. And that equates to, that's almost 200,000 meals.
That's a fantastic. Oh, one of my favorites, the Rubber Duck Derby. Tell us about that.
That's coming up a week from this Sunday. It's coming up the 18th. And that's another major fundraiser for us. It's also a family-friendly event. It's great to get out, and we're able to get out in front of the community with it as well and publicize our mission. It's at the Mid-City Bayou Boogaloo Fest. I always say that 3 times real fast. And what we do, it's 25,000 little rubber ducks that get dumped out of a big dump truck, and firemen with fire hoses get them going on the Bayou St. John. And the ducks are $5 a piece. You can get as many as you want. You can get them at our website. We've got details there about how you can get them in person. Just adopt a duck for $5, and if your duck is the one that crosses the finish line, the grand prize is $5,000.
Oh, wow.
Plus a lot of other big prizes as well.
That's a lot of ducks. I mean, bucks. Yeah, right.
But again, it's a great fundraiser. We'll be out there as well, with information and literature for the public about the mission of Second Harvest. So, but again, it's a huge fundraiser for us. It's vital.
Well, Mr. Vice, I can't thank you enough. I know it's important right now. The summertime is here, and people are not thinking too much. Holidays is a big time. People think about giving to the hungry, and this too is a very key time, especially when we get close to hurricane season, having the proper materials and the resources available. Thank you for all that you're doing. Hope it's a great turnout this weekend. Hope that everybody stuffs their mailbox or their doorpost with great items for people to.
Jason, thanks for having us.
Anytime, anytime. Again, for more information about Second Harvest Food Bank Summer Feeding Program or any of the things we've talked about, please go online to no-hunger.org, and we'll be right back.
The science of learning is an imperfect one, but Louisiana Catholic schools have consistently instituted a formula for success. An astonishing 95% of Catholic school students go on to college. And last year, they brought with them over $185 million in scholarship awards. Shouldn't you invest in success and the confident leaders of tomorrow? Louisiana Catholic Schools, in a class of their own.
What began as a conversation among friends in a high school classroom has grown into a public rally for peace held on the grounds of Notre Dame Seminary. As Janet Gross shows us, 2 LaSallian schools teamed up for this call to action.
Faith service community.
Faith service community.
And let it begin with you and me.
Let it begin with you.
Oh, come on, give it up, give it up, get up, come on, get up. All right, here we go. This little light of mine, come on, everybody. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light.
2 schools put this together, this Team Up Against Violence rally, De La Salle and Rummel, standing in support of peace.
We have the ability to shape what our city will be like in the future, the next 20, 30 years. So I feel like it's important for us to take a stand now and realize this is an issue. This is what we need to do to change it.
Student-led and organized, they want to let others know they're willing to do something.
You can't just sit there and say, I want to change something and just not do anything about it. If you want to do something, you have to actually stand up and say something about it.
As the young group, we're able to talk for our own youth, and we know what's going on, and pretty much we're here for each other. So
they're here for the whole community, everyone who wants to take a stand for peace.
Your presence here on this bright and sunny afternoon is a true testament to the spirit of St. John Baptist de La Salle, to the traditions of the Christian Brothers, a tradition rooted in service.
They get that. It's part of who they are.
We're taught from LaSallian education, and we're taught to be friendly and be brothers and sisters, that it's really important to work together and not commit violence.
Well, I thought it would be a good idea to come up with a rally, to come up with some kind of thing to get New Orleans involved. We need to be more involved as a group, as a city. You know, we take pride in the Saints, we take pride in the Hornets, in the Pelicans now. We take pride in everything we do, so why not take pride in violence and make sure we stop it, or at least resist it where we can control it. You know?
One of the speakers, a victim of gun violence, shot and paralyzed in a home invasion.
I have to believe that if God left me here, He left me here for a reason. So I'm, being able to speak on occasions like this afternoon are part of the reason I'm glad, that I can still be here, just to share some ideas.
Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow.
They talk, they listen, now they want to lead.
We know that there's always tomorrow.
And my sisters and brothers, as a young adult church, we look to you for your leadership. We look to you for being the peacemakers of our time, and we want to be able to walk with you, and yes, even to follow your example.
They want to be examples of good and faithful. Many already volunteer and look for other ways to promote peace in how they live and serve. I'm Janet Gross for Issues and Faith.
While the organizers are mostly seniors and will be off to college soon, they hope those coming behind them will make this peace effort a lasting tradition.
If you have a question for us or an idea that you'd like to see on air, please write to us at Issues in Faith, 3330 North Causeway Boulevard, Suite 345, Metairie, Louisiana 70002, or you can email us at questions@WLAE.com. Plus, if you missed an episode, you can catch up online at www.archdiocese-no.org.
And that's our program for this evening. For all of us at Issues in Faith, thanks for watching.
We'll be back next week. Hope you join us again soon. Until then, God bless, and a happy birthday to my wife's beautiful grandmother, Adi, for her 92 years old. Thank you very much. God bless.